It has been almost 20 hours since the deletion of Unus Annus, and for the first time in at least audio format, I would like to talk about it. And I don't just mean talking about Unus Annus, because I've been content to talk about things on Tumblr and Facebook and any textual medium for a while. This is entirely new to me. I don't record my voice. I'm a little self-conscious about it. But there's a specific reason why I wanted to do this, and it's because of Unus Annus. This year has been rough. And I know that it's been rough for everyone, of course, but it's specifically been rough for me. At the beginning of this year, was just finishing up my graduate program for my Master's of Social Work degree, which I do have now. I'm very proud of myself for achieving that, but I had been since elementary school just not addressing things emotionally in favor of finishing my education, because I thought that that was what I needed. I thought that if I could just reach the end of the tunnel as far as my formal education goes, I would be satisfied. I would be able to start my life. Like I would finally be prepared to just get out in the world and make something of myself and do all the things that I wanted to do suddenly without worrying about, a test or a paper or, failing and having to do it all over again and having to put my life off. That was not healthy, and I only really realized how unhealthy that really was when I graduated. I had finally reached the end of the road as far as my goals go, because there is also a PhD that I could go for, but I only see that for myself about 15-20 years down the road. I'm done. I'm not going back to school anytime soon. And of course, the pandemic had been in full swing for about a little over a month and a half at that point. But I just sat down with myself and I realized that even if the pandemic were not happening, I just didn't want to work. Something was blocking me from moving forward. I didn't want to search for a job. I didn't feel like I was good enough to enter this field that I had been training to enter for, technically my whole life, but essentially since I became interested in psychology in sophomore year of high school. I didn't feel like I had myself together. I felt like I didn't have any purpose really that I was working towards. I at some points wondered what was even the point of, doing the song and dance, of moving forward with a job right out of school and jumping into the grind for the next, I'm 26, so 40 years. And then suddenly I'm 65 and retiring, and who knows how much longer I would have to live after that, if I even made it that far. And then my life is just school, work, maybe a few years of retirement, death. And that's all I felt like I had to give, all I felt like I was able to glean from life, and that reality terrified me. It's still upsetting. In fact, I'm so self-conscious about all of this that I had to stop recording for the past like 12 hours because my girlfriend came back upstairs and I didn't want to admit in front of her while she was awake that I had really just lost the reason that I was alive. For it literally as long as I can remember, probably since I was a very young child and essentially gave up on a lot of the things that just come naturally to people, like, making friends. I've never been great at that. I don't know, what do people do in life, but like that's the point. Like I never really got it. I never really figured out what I wanted to do to make my life meaningful. So I got around that by making lists. I started to make like bucket lists and to-do lists and lists for everything, and I thought if I can just check everything off, then I will have some sort of meaningful life. Like if I can climb Maslow's hierarchy of needs and achieve self-actualization, then I will have won life, which is an absolutely totally healthy thing to want. And it had gotten to the point where all of my lists that I was making for myself, from like the big stuff that I wanted to do and save up for, like surgery and moving and stuff like that, to like even the littlest stuff, like I want to repair this blanket, or I want to decorate our room, or little things like that. It was constantly on my mind, but if I didn't make a list for it, it would just bounce around in my head and I wouldn't be able to let it go. And then Saturday morning happened, 2 a.m., and it seems so ridiculous that a YouTube channel that admittedly had some very funny shit on it, and I was using it to get myself through quarantine and that period of my life where I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me and what I was doing wrong and why I didn't want to move on to the next step so badly. But yeah, even then, it's still just a YouTube channel, so I don't know why, but something clicked. My roommates went to bed and I went upstairs and couldn't go to sleep, and I was just thinking about it, and something inside of me went, oh, this is fine. And it wasn't, because, I was crying because I had associated this moment with a lot of deeper things that, again, I was not addressing, but I really did feel like this is what letting go feels like. I felt like my body in that moment learned what it meant to let go of something, which it didn't understand before. And it's so weird to think that my body and my mind have to learn things in different ways, and I can't just listen to someone, for example, telling you how to do breathing techniques, because that's another thing. I have heard so many different people try to teach me and groups I was in how to breathe in order to, calm down, self-regulate, prevent panic attacks, and I would try to emulate those teachings and none of it worked. But the last 20 minutes on that countdown, I started breathing in and out gently in a way that I hadn't been taught to before, and that I really don't feel like I had purposefully done before either. And I didn't get over emotional. I stayed calm the whole time. I was able to successfully move through that experience, solely having been taught to do so by the experience itself. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else, but to me, that was really cool. Like, I've been through a lot of big life events. I've been through some graduations, I left schools, I left friend groups, I stopped talking to people, people stopped talking to me. I lost all 4, but technically 5 of my grandparents, and in almost every case, I just fell to pieces over it. I didn't make my way through it. I just kind of sat in this terrible situation and covered myself in it and felt bad for myself and waited until I was too exhausted to care about it anymore. And then I stuck it in my little mental backpack and I just kept going. I never actually dealt with any of it. And the reason I'm making such a big deal about this is because I think this is the first time in my life where that hasn't been the case. It's little. Again, it seems ridiculous. It's a YouTube channel. Who cares? But I dealt with it. Like, even with other media, I would make myself miserable because I was like, oh, I started this, I've gotten so far, I need to finish it. Even though I hated what it became. And it wasn't bringing me joy, I wasn't having fun engaging with the media, or like stuff from my childhood. I told myself, oh, I still have these books, but I never finished this book series, but I don't remember the earlier books, so I've got to read them all again so that I can finish the book series, so that then I can let it go when I finish the book series, even though I didn't want to. And this has been the first thing where, now that I think about it, it's actually important that this happened on the internet and that there are people who were able to so easily download the videos, because the fact of the matter is, if I really want to, I can go find those videos. It would not be hard. There's probably re-uploaded channels right now with all of the videos. I know that there's at least one that I wasn't able to see. I saw clips of them doing yoga. I never found that video for some reason when the official channel was still up. I could go find that video if I wanted to, but the thing is, I don't want to, because I have allowed this in my mind to end. And that's amazing to me. It seems so easy for some people on the outside to just put things down, and it's not for me. I hyperfixate on the stupidest shit, but I can put this down, and it's a really empowering feeling to just be able to let something end when I've had fun with it and it's added something positive to my life. And even if I haven't engaged with it in a way that I would deem perfect, even if I haven't squeezed every single drop that there is to get out of it, I'm okay with just moving on and having the way that I experienced Unus Annus being my unique experience of it and not some completionist experience. Even though I was there from day one, I don't know. I guess that's all I have to say. I would like to talk more with other people about how this affected you. Maybe if you'd like to write something in the comments, I would be glad to engage with you on this. But now that I'm not quite so concerned about doing everything perfectly and completing quote-unquote life, I think I'm gonna try streaming. Just because I want to. I may not do it perfectly. I may not do like an upload every day like YouTube wants. I may not understand how Twitch works. But I think just because I want to, and for no other reason, whenever I feel like it, I'm just gonna start streaming. And we'll see where it goes. And maybe I can make a little bit of meaning, just a little bit of joy for myself every day that way. Every day that I'm alive, and then when my time is up, I guess my time is up. I'm not worried about it anymore. I'm just gonna have fun. And if you made it to the end of this emotional rant, thank you. I'm not sure why, but it means a lot that you listened. And I doubt they'll ever see or hear me, but I want to throw a thank you out into the universe for Mark and Ethan and Amy and the entire team of Unus Annus as well for giving me the push that I needed and honestly helping me out more in one night than my therapist has been able to all summer. So this is going to be fun to talk about with her on Monday. But yeah. Maybe I'll see you guys here, maybe I won't, but either way, with this video, I'm breaking through my insecurity and just putting something out into the world. because life is too short not to take risks.